All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on, SHIPIT Nation YouTube station? We're back with another edition of the NBA show. I got my guy Hebrewcheetah here with me today on this Friday. It's Halloween. It's a big sports day. We got 8 games. We got the NBA Cup on tap. I don't even know who the sponsor is this year, but whatever sponsor, NBA Cup. We got game 6 of the World Series. Should be a good one. We got kids going trick-or-treating. We got my guy Rio, Hebrewcheetah. What's going on, man? How's your week been? Happy Friday to you.
Hey, happy Friday. Happy NBA Cup Day. This is my favorite time of year. I always like the NBA Cup. I know it's kind of controversial to some people. I think it's Emirates that is sponsoring it now. Okay. But yeah, I like the NBA Cup. I like that they've done this. Kind of adds a new element to the regular season, which kind of has been a little boring at times during the year. But yeah, doing pretty good. Had a close call a few nights ago. Hopefully you can bounce back here and have a good week heading into the NFL Sunday slate.
Yeah, should be a good slate. Yeah, these games, it's still just one of 82, but I feel like they are, a little bit harder and got the different court. It's a Friday night, so you got a lot of things brewing. Let's say hello to some people in the chat. Got my guy, Mr. Wisconsin, Jordan Newens, Parabay, Wardo, Anthony Massey. What's going on, Anthony? Long time no see. Desmond's in here. Nate D, as always. Kid Lightning. Colin James says it's going to be Alonzo Ball night. It must be Halloween. And Jordan's back in here again as well. We certainly appreciate you tuning in. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button for us. It certainly helps us out a ton over here at the Nation. We're going to get right into it. It's an injury-riddled field slate tonight. Rio, we'll go through it as we get there. And the first game up on the slate, you can see from the stone over here at the Nation, got the Hawks taking on the beat-up Pacers. The big news here, obviously, no Trae Young. Looks like Nickeil Alexander-Walker, LeBron James, Jordan is going to be starting tonight. And the Pacers been shorthanded all season. Pascal Siakam, obviously a good play. But talk to me a little bit about this game, Hawks at the Pacers.
Yeah, got to see what they're going to do with the starting unit. I would imagine it's Nickeil Alexander-Walker stepping in there for Trae Young. He's been playing really well off the bench. But it would not be surprised if it's either him, Kennard, or Keaton Wallace. They're going to split the ball handling between those 3 guys. But yeah, definitely a pretty good thing to kick, good game to kick things off right away. With Trae Young being out, that vacates a good amount of usage and a ton of touches for some of these other guys. And they have a good group of guys that can fill that role with like Dyson Daniels, NAW, Jalen Johnson, and then Porzingis even a little bit. He saw his potential assist tick up in a pretty big way last time out. And then with the Pacers, got a couple Q tags that don't really mean too much. Like Johnny Furphy, I think, is the big one because that is a guy that they probably had planned to have in their rotation early in the season, and he's been out for most of the games this year. But if he misses, then it's going to be the same thing that we saw last time out with the Shepard, Nesmith, Siakam, Walker, Isaiah Jackson starting unit, and then Ray J. Dennis, Tony Bradley, Huff, and then you get Quinn Jackson and Mac McClung kind of filling in the point guard minutes as well. But yeah, both these teams not really playing great defense right now, which has kind of been expected. I thought that the Hawks' rim defense would get a little bit better to start the year with Kristaps Porzingis there, but it really hasn't. Maybe that has something to do with him only playing around 25 minutes a game, but just the rim defense has not been that great, and their pace hasn't really been that good either. They definitely played a lot slower without Trae last game. But the Pacers, they're able to keep things competitive. They are one of the worst offensive teams in the league, though, bottom 3 in offensive rating. It doesn't really matter too much just because they have so much usage to go around with all these injuries. But I'll start on the Hawks side. I really like Jalen Johnson here. Definitely a guy I'm going to want to get overweight on. I kind of thought that we were looking great in that game when Trae got injured because Jalen Johnson is always a guy that you want to fire up whenever Trae gets injured. He didn't really do much, kind of, lost some minutes due to foul trouble, been dealing with that ankle injury. That's kind of held him back from like a minute ceiling standpoint. But last year, he did play 2 games without Trae, put up 60 DK points with a triple-double against Boston, and then 43.3 in the other game. So pretty solid DK average there. but he is second on the team in usage, third in assists last game, and then second in touch time. He's going to have a much bigger role. They're going to be running a lot of the offense through him. Especially if Nickeil Alexander, if Nickeil Alexander-Walker is starting, then you really don't have like a true point guard there, because those guys, NAW and Dyson Daniels, are more shooting guards. So I would imagine Jalen Johnson picks up a pretty big offensive role with no Trey. But I do have a lot of interest in NAW and Dyson Daniels as well. Dyson is probably going to be in the best spot here, just from like a matchup standpoint with this Pacer team not really having any true point guard in their roster. I could see them, putting up a lot of turnovers, which would make him really interesting. They also don't really have great rim defense. He did lead the team in drives and potential assists last game without Trey. And he's also the most likely in the starting unit to play upper 30 minutes. I like him a good bit, probably a little bit more than Jalen Johnson. And then NAW, something that kind of was interesting. I listened to some, just some stuff around the industry, some beat writer podcasts, and a good note about NAW was when he came over to Minnesota, he wasn't really asked to have the same role that he did when he was in Utah, was playing a lot of off ball and just kind of a 3-and-D guy. But when he was with Utah, he was a pretty high usage guy, and he's kind of picked that back up here with Atlanta, and definitely makes a lot of sense. He was kind of running the second unit, been playing really strong minutes, 30 minutes off the bench in basically every game this season. So I think that he could kind of have sneaky big upside and a sneaky big usage role here. So I like him a good bit. I probably don't want to play more than two of NAW, Dyson, and Jalen Johnson, because I think they're all kind of competing for the same stats. I think that's probably it on the Atlanta side. You can make the case for Kristaps and Okongwu. Both are playing pretty well, but neither really separating from a minute standpoint. And then the Pacers side, I think Siakam is probably got the best role from a non-point guard, first on the team in usage over the last two games with the injury-riddled games for the Pacers, second in assist, and first in touch time, just under 5 minutes of touch time per game. I think he's in a pretty good spot here with how bad the rim defense has been for Atlanta. So I like him a good bit. And then Jarris Walker, I think, is one of, if not the best value plays in the slate. Played 36 minutes last game. Shot the ball horribly, but he did have a really strong role. Added 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Only shot 5 of 19 from the field, but still put up 45 DK points. But yeah, really strong ball handling role. 3 minutes of touch time, 21% usage rate. Pretty favorable matchup here as well against Jalen Johnson, who's a average to below average defender. And then you could go back to Ray J. Dennis if you want to. I think that there's probably better value plays on the slate, though.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. You answered my question about Ray J. Went from 38 to 5,200. So yeah, got it there. Overweight on Jalen. I wrote that down, so appreciate that nugget. Kennard, did you mention Luke at all? I see 2 questions about Luke being cheapy. If you talked about him, you didn't talk long about him, so no love for Kennard tonight.
No, not really. They're definitely going to use him more on ball a little bit, but I don't think that there's enough upside there. I kind of like some values in the other games, so I don't really think I'm going to go there.
Excellent breakdown there. We got my guy Tim D in the chat. Said he watched the show the other day. Didn't watch my show because this is my first one of the week. That was my guy Hebrewcheetah and probably Bellman or Title that you got you. Hey, I'm biased, but there's no better guy in the industry, Timmy D, than my boy right here, Hebrewcheetah. So yeah, appreciate you tuning back in today. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button for us. We're going on to the next game, and it is the Celtics with no Jason Tatum yet, still on the shelf, but he looks good bouncing around there. Taking on your undefeated Philadelphia 76ers. Could it be the year the rookie has been just dynamite? Tyrese Maxey has been dynamite, but still no Tatum, as I alluded to earlier. No other injuries that I'm aware of, Rio, for Boston, but PG-13 still on the shelf, thank goodness. Jared McCain, he's still sitting out as well. But talk to me a little bit about this game. You got any love or any interest in Boston at Philadelphia in a rematch, I believe, of opening night or game 2 in Boston?
Yeah, definitely interest in this game. Something that I've been kind of making a mental note of after watching these Philly games. I mean, they're getting up some huge lines to opposing centers, and I think a good reason why is Joel Embiid is obviously not the same player that he was a few years ago, and I kind of been like saying this past few years, like he just doesn't give a lot of effort on defense. There'll be times where he just does not chase down rebounds, and he's kind of doing that, saving a lot of his energy for offense. So he's been giving up some really big stat lines to opposing big men. I don't know if there's enough upside from a minute standpoint for Nemias Queta. He's been playing pretty well and producing pretty solidly from a point per minute standpoint. But I just think that moving forward, once we get some of these better spots for maybe a Walker Kessler or like a Donovan Kling and I don't know, Vucevic, something like that against Embiid would definitely be something to keep an eye on. But yeah, the Sixers playing pretty poorly defensively right now, which is kind of crazy, still being undefeated. Definitely a lot of that due to Tyrese Maxey playing so well, leading the league in points per game of guys not named Luka, who's only played 2 games this season. He's just crushing it. I think you could definitely play him in any matchup, in any spot. I was told a few days ago that Maxey is not in play as long as Embiid's back, still putting up a ton of points. I'm totally fine going back to him. The Celtics are giving up a ton of threes right now as they're trying to take away a lot of the easy rim scoring. So I think this is a pretty good spot for Tyrese Maxey here. I like him the most and probably the only guy I'm really considering on Philly. It's getting a little too expensive for VJ, especially with Embiid getting a little bit better. I think he's definitely going to be a guy that is negatively impacted there. And then, if you're playing like a 150 in the $8 tonight, don't think it's too crazy to leave Quentin Grimes and Kelly Oubre in your player pool, but probably not enough upside for either of them. The Celtics side definitely a little bit more intriguing. I think Jaylen Brown at 8.6K is a pretty good price tag for him. It's a tough-ish matchup versus Kelly Oubre, but the role has been really good. He's leading the team in usage at 31%. And I would say that the way that the Sixers have been giving up a ton of points in transition is a plus for him from a matchup perspective. It's just the Celtics are not really playing very fast right now, so I don't know if there's enough upside for him. Between White and Pritchard, I think that those guys I slightly prefer them to Jaylen Brown. I don't know which one I prefer between the two of them because Derek White has been the main pick and roll guy for Boston, and that's kind of where you want to attack this Sixers defense. They're allowing the second most pick and roll points per game. So if he's going to be the guy that gets most of the pick and roll volume, I would definitely prefer Derek White, but he's just not really doing enough of the other stuff and kind of shooting the ball pretty poorly. I like what I've been seeing from Pritchard lately. He's been, I think, trending up. He's really not shooting that ball that great either, but he's going to see a much easier matchup. He did play 37 minutes in the opener as they were trying to match him up with Tyrese Maxey a little bit. So I think I slightly lean Pritchard, but not a strong stand between Brown, White, or Pritchard. And then Josh Minot, a lot of people talking about him in chat. He's been playing really good in his first 2 starts of the season, 32.25 DK points, 42.5 DK points, played 33 minutes, probably going to start again. So yeah, I think he's a very strong value play, but I don't think that this game is super appealing to get deep into. I think Minot and Maxey are the 2 top plays in this game.
Excellent breakdown there. Minot and Maxey, favorite 2 on the slate. We're going to go right into the next one right off that. Rio, we got the Raptors at the Cavs. Donovan Mitchell, I believe, popped up on the questionable tag this morning. Darius and Strus are still out. Sam Merrill, who left the game earlier the night, he's also out. Jarrett Allen, also questionable. He had a good game his last time out as well. And then on the other side, not that many injuries to talk about. Jakob is going to sit this one out, so no Jakob tonight. No Podol. Pirtle, however you say his name, he's out. But talk to me about this game. Toronto at Cleveland. Are you going to let them know?
Yeah, I literally just followed and put on Donovan Mitchell's notifications because we definitely got to keep an eye on that. He did post it last game, and I think he actually said something in like an interview. It said I tweeted it before the game. So if he tweets the hashtag let him know in the next probably 30 minutes to an hour, he'll be in. But Jarrett Allen is definitely one we have to keep an eye on because that could open up some good value in a game that already has pretty good value in Murray Boyles, who got the start last game. But yeah, I'm really interested in the Cleveland side here offensively. This Raptors team, it seemed like they'd be a little bit better coming into the league defensively. I didn't really believe it because I just don't think Jakob Poeltl is a good defender, and I also think that everybody else other than Scotty Barnes in the starting lineup and really on the team is not that great defensively. But they've been really giving up a ton right now. They're the second worst team in the league, only behind the Nets, giving up a ton of rim points, the 4th most pick and roll points per game, and the 4th most transition points per game. So a really, really big spot for this Cleveland offense here to bounce back after the letdown game against Boston. Breaking down the Toronto side, though, don't love the matchup for anyone here in particular. I think that Scotty Barnes is kind of always in play just because he's their best option offensively. He did have some pretty big games in some tougher matchups against the Rockets and Mitchell Robinson starting tonight. against the Rockets and against Dallas. But I really don't have a lot of interest in picking on Evan Mobley. So probably not going to get to too much of Scotty Barnes. I think if there was one guy of the non-value plays in this game that I like, it would be Emmanuel Quickley, but he's pretty expensive. Does lead the league or lead the team in touch time. But the thing that I really like about his matchup is that the guard defense for the Cavs is probably their main area of weakness. And they've also been a pretty big three-point funnel this season, allowing the fourth most threes per game. He's taken around 4 to 7 in each game this season. So, kind of a plus for him matchup-wise. He should get Donovan Mitchell on defense, which is a really good spot to attack. So I like him the best of the non-value plays. And then Colin Murray-Boyle is going to likely get the start again, ran into some foul trouble, but probably was trending for close to 30 minutes here, which is always going to put somebody in play when they're sub 4K. So I think he's probably one of the best value plays on the slate. Him and Jarris Walker, kind of 1A, 1B there. And then you could play the leverage game with Sandro, getting the backup center minutes. He's always been a good point per minute guy, but I don't think I'm going to go to too much of that. But yeah, the Cleveland side, I think, is really good here. Assuming that Donovan Mitchell's good to go, it's a pretty big spot for him against a team that's allowing a ton of rim points and being a huge on-ball funnel defensively with the bottom 4 ranked pick-and-roll defense. That's an area that Donovan Mitchell thrives in. The one area of concern for him is that I could see the minutes getting cut down a little bit just because, dealing with a hamstring injury is not something that you want to really push the limits. And he's been playing more minutes than usual early on this season. I'm definitely going to get cut down once this team gets healthy. But I think 32 to 34 is probably enough for him to put up a pretty big game. He was kind of on his way to a huge game against Boston, then really cooled off in the second half. But yeah, I would love the matchup for him. Mobley, going to see Scotty Barnes defensively. He's pretty good on defense, but I don't really think that's too much to worry about. The Raptors just been getting killed on the interior, just giving up a ton of rim points, and he'd really benefit in a big way if Jared Allen were to miss. Going to see his rebounding rates shoot up. I see DeAndre Hunter projecting pretty decently, and for a good amount of ownership. Would probably prefer if Mitchell were to miss. I'd definitely play a lot of DeAndre Hunter. They are really making it a point of emphasis to get him going on offense. We saw his usage rate really climb last game. I don't know. I'm okay with him. He should see some pretty weak defenders. I think he's going to get Brandon Ingram on defense, which is a good spot to attack. I don't know. I think he's just fine. But some value would definitely open up if Jared Allen were to miss this game. I think he's dealing with like a broken finger, so there's a good chance that he could miss. I think it's something that he can play through. But if they give him the night off tonight, Larry Nance Jr. would probably be the one that gets the start, and he'd be a smash value for sure at 3.2K. So that's what I'd be waiting on this game a little bit for sure, not getting too deep into the first two.
What about who benefits the most from Sam Merrill being out? I know we missed the other night against Boston, but who would benefit? Like Jalen Tyson had a good game the other night. I heard some Lonzo in the chat earlier, but he hadn't gotten above 24 minutes. Is there anybody that's going to benefit with him being out another game?
It would probably be just Jalen Tyson's going to continue to start, I would imagine. They're definitely missing his off-ball scoring for sure. Kenny Atkinson has talked about that in some of the games, really missing a guy like Sam Merrill. So I would think that it's going to continue to be Tyson. But yeah, Lonzo Ball, he's capped from a minute perspective. He's not going to play more than 25 in a game for the foreseeable future, and he's not shooting the ball that well. So I don't really think that I'm too interested in him. Would probably need Donovan Mitchell to be out and Lonzo to be starting to get to him. That's kind of what I'm seeing.
Okay. Excellent breakdown there. We're going to go on to the next game. It is the Knicks. We just got the Mitch Rob news. I believe this is his first game of the season. My guess is he slides in for who? Miles McBride in the starting lineup, but you can touch on that. But you got the Knicks, you got the Bulls. But I believe the Bulls are still undefeated. Correct me if I'm wrong, Rio, but they were undefeated. Kobe White is still out for the Bulls. For the Bulls. And then you got a couple Q tags in Towns and Mitchell Robinson. But we just got the news that he's starting. We got should be a good one. Friday night, first game of the NBA Cup, Knicks at Chicago. Yeah,
this is interesting game from a matchup perspective, just with the way that these teams are playing defense. I think it kind of is I don't know, like the Bulls are a team that you could have attacked pretty much anywhere last season. I don't really think that they're going to be this good defensively moving forward, but they're giving up the most rim points per game and the least threes per game. So a huge rim funnel, definitely taking away the three there. And then the Knicks offensively have become a huge a team that's just firing a bunch of threes and not really getting to the basket as much. So I think that they're going to have to look to exploit that weak rim defense for sure in this one, and they should be able to. Mike Brown's a good coach, should be able to make adjustments. And then for the Knicks, they've been playing pretty poorly with their 3-point defense. They've been getting a ton of 3-pointers, which is also like a Mike Brown defensive matchup thing. They like to double team a lot on lead handlers, so the off-ball guys for Chicago should be in a pretty decent spot here. I don't know how to feel about Cat now. I think that he was probably one of my favorite plays on the entire slate before the Mitchell Robinson news. I don't know if it's really going to take me off him as much. If anything, that might make his matchup a little bit worse. I don't know. I really don't know what to do because I love the matchup for Cat. If it was going to be him going up against Vooch, just Vooch is a guy I love to attack, especially with a guy like Cat who's just traditionally killed centers of Vooch's archetype, like a traditional center. And it kind of, like, the numbers back it up. He averaged 40 points per game, 15 rebounds per game against the Bulls last season in 3 games, just under 70 DK points per game. Hasn't really had a big game yet this season, but I'll kind of chalk that up to him having some really tough matchups. He faced Cleveland, Boston, Miami, and then Milwaukee. So I think that this is a blow-up spot for Cat for sure. I'm going to take some time after we talk about this game to look at the on-off numbers with Cat and Mitchell Robinson, because I would imagine that it's definitely going to hurt his rebounding rates, but offensively he should be fine. Brunson's been getting it going the last 2 games, 49 DK points, 60 DK points. Should be a pretty good spot for him, the way that the Bulls were a pretty big pick-and-roll funnel last season. But this year it looks like they have improved a little bit in both pick-and-roll and ISO defense. Definitely prefer Cat's upside, but I think that Brunson is a pretty solid mid-tier option at the point guard position. I don't think that maybe gets to too much else in this game. You could make the case for OG playing really well right now, but that's probably it. Chicago side, I don't really like too much on that side. They're running a pretty deep rotation, and also they're using Giddey more off ball, which is, I mean, it hasn't hurt him as much. He did almost get a triple-double last game, but I don't know. I just think that he might be a little capped right now, not playing a ton of minutes and not having the ball in his hands as much. So I don't love the Bulls side tonight.
Yeah, you taught me into some OG last week. I think I still like him tonight. Real quick, going back, I missed a question. Is playing Mobley and Larry Nance Jr. together okay if Allen were to miss?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, with Nance being $3,200, I think, yeah, I'm with Rio there. A great play there. If he is Jason Turner, what's going on, man? Appreciate you tuning in. Thank you. We appreciate it as always. We're halfway home. Ladies and gentlemen, just do us a quick favor. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. It helps us out a ton over here. We got 8 games. We're breaking them all down. Opening night of the Emirates NBA Cup that we're talking through. I got my guy Hebrewcheetah here with me. Next up on the slate, it's the return of Luka. Luka missed the last 2 games. Austin Reeves acting like freaking LeBron James out there, just balling 50-pointer the other night, taking on my Memphis Grizzlies and Ja Morant, still without Zach Edey, still without Scottie Pippen Jr., still without the what's-his-face from the Cavaliers. I'm drawing a blank on his name, but he's not playing either. Ty Jerome, sorry about that. Ty Jerome out. LeBron still out. No other injuries for the Lakers that I'm aware of outside of Gabe Vincent and LeBron missing. Marcus Smart, revenge game, Rio. You got a little revenge game in you with Marcus Smart coming back home, his second home to Memphis. But talk to me about this game, Lakers at the Grizzlies.
Yeah, I think a lot of the fantasy appeal kind of got taken away when you added Luka back into the mix. For sure, for the Lakers side, I think that it's pretty straightforward. Just Luka right now. I don't think you can comfortably play Austin Reeves at 10K. I mean, he had probably the best role in the NBA with Luka and LeBron off the court. I think he had like over 10 minutes of touch time per game, just insane usage rates, was doing everything. But now, adding Luka back into the mix, he's going to fall back into the role that he had before. But with that being said, I'd love the spot for Luka for sure at 11.5K. That's a good price tag for him. He was leading the league in points per game and pick and roll scoring per game before the injury, put up 78 and 77 DK points in his first 2 games this season. Don't think that he's going to be limited at all tonight. He had really good condition coming into the opening night. Looks a lot skinnier as well. So I think that he's going to be a very, very strong spin up tonight against this Grizzlies team that's struggling defensively. The Memphis side, kind of easy to break down as well. I don't think that I have much interest here. I would love the spot for Ja if he was playing like 36 minutes, but it's just they they ease him into the regular season. It takes him about a month to ramp up, so he's going to be in like the low 20s for the foreseeable future. But if I knew that he was playing 36, I would definitely want to play him because he's always been a strong per minute guy, and it's a really good matchup. The way that the Lakers have been giving up a ton of volume to point guards. I guess Cedric Howard is projecting okay. He's had a couple big games there, not really separating a ton from a minutes perspective, so I don't think that I'm going to go there. It's probably just Luka in this game.
Yeah, looking at that Lakers roster, that's a pretty terrible roster, or is it just me? 'Cause I think the rest of those guys, I mean, obviously Luka's the man, but outside of that, with no LeBron, it looks like a pretty terrible lineup to me, or a roster if I'm looking at it over there. Just trying to see anybody on the Grizzlies. Yeah, I'm out on the Grizzlies as well. We heard something in the chat a little minute ago asking if he was the only one on the Suns and Jazz game, and asking Rio if he was going to be on. I think a lot of people are going to be on this game. The Jazz, they are allergic to defense, gave up 79 first-half points to the Trailblazers the other night. Suns, I think this is a rematch of the last game that these two played, or at least in the last two, but you got Devin Booker, you got Grayson Allen. I know you like a lot of these guys tonight. The Jazz, Lauri Markkanen, been balling. Walker Kessler, been playing out of his mind as well. But talk to me a little bit about this game. We got a 238-point total, but the Jazz in the desert taking on the Suns.
Yeah, these two teams played 2 games ago, went into overtime. One of the most exciting watches of an NBA game so far this season. And from a DFS perspective, you needed like 6 guys in that game. I was looking at the optimal lineup. It had, I think, Booker, Royce, Gillespie, Lauri, Keontae, and Kessler that were all optimal. So all those guys look really good again here for different reasons. But I'm going to continue to have a ton of interest in Utah and then teams playing against Utah. They had a pretty strong start to the season, but have kind of fallen back to their normal ways defensively. They're going to be a team that gives up a ton of 3-pointers, the most catch and shoot points per game. And then their transition defense is trending down as well. Those are the same areas that they were poor on last year. They're always going to have a really good pick and roll defense and rim defense with Walker Kessler playing very, very good defense there. But all in all, it's going to be a team that you want to attack, especially with guards and especially with guys that are catch and shoot guys. And then the Suns, kind of same thing. Their transition defense hasn't been great, giving up some pretty big games to lead scorers as well. Just an all-around not that great defensive team. Don't really have any lockdown defenders, especially with Dylan Brooks sidelined. They're going to be pretty bad moving forward. But yeah, the Jazz side, it's a top 3 guys for me for sure, and then kind of move on. I guess you could make the case for Nurkic at 4K because he's a really good permanent guy and it's a good matchup. But I think that I like Keontae the best of – actually, Keontae and Walker, they're all really good. I can't really make a case against anyone more than the other. Lauri's been playing lights out right now, put up 50 points, career high against the Suns last time out. They don't really have a good defender that I think could slow him down, so I think that he's in a pretty good spot. Keontae has been improving a ton this year, pretty much getting better everywhere that he was poor last year. He's had a really good role, 7.9 minutes of touch time, which would be tied for the league lead with Austin Reeves, assuming that you take away Luka from that category. Been driving the ball a lot as well, taking a little bit less threes to kind of bump up the true shooting percentage. So I love going right back to Keontae. Definitely a team that I was looking to attack with point guards a lot last year, and it's been pretty sticky this season as well. They're bottom 7 in defense or in fantasy points allowed to point guards, so he looks really strong. Walker Kessler, I think, is probably a little underpriced. He's doing a lot more this year than he was last year, kind of just a rebound and put back guy last year, but now he's getting more involved as a passer and is also taking more threes. He's 3rd on the team in potential assists this season. I think he made like 3 or 4 threes last game. He went 3 for 4 from 3 last game, went 1 for 2 against the Suns 2 games prior. So I think that he's very, very strong tonight. And he's also going to be gifted a much better matchup with Mark Williams now, the starting center for the Suns. And, kind of dating back to his time with the Hornets, he was a guy that you would pretty much want to attack anytime that he was on the slate. I don't really think that he's that great of a defender, so I have a lot of interest in Walker Kessler tonight. Outside of that, I think it's going to get a little too thin. I would keep an eye on Ace Bailey moving forward. I think they're going to eventually start to get him more involved. But Svi has been playing pretty good in the starting unit. Ace was dealing with an illness coming into the season. I don't think that they really wanted to push him. He looked like he was struggling from a cardio standpoint. I think he's getting a little bit healthier, though. On the Sun side, I love Devin Booker tonight. Potential core play again. Cored him the last time out. He just kills this Jazz team. He's averaging over 60 DK, I think it was 58 DraftKings points against the Jazz over the last 2 seasons. And it's the same roster, essentially. The way that the Jazz give it up, a ton of threes and a lot of assists to opposing guards. So I'm going to be playing a ton of Booker. They were doubling him a lot last game. Let's say him going for 34, 5, and 10. Really strong role for Booker. I love him again tonight. I think you can definitely play Mark Williams now that he's starting, but he's not going to play like 34, 35 minutes, probably capped around like 30, maybe 32 on the high end, but a really good permanent guy. I don't love the matchup against Kessler. He's a good rebounder and really good rim protector, so I'm not super interested in attacking that. But then you get Grayson Allen, Royce O'Neal, and Colin Gillespie. I think all these guys are really, really strong tonight. Definitely prefer Royce and Gillespie by a pretty wide margin over Grayson, considering that he's $1,000 more than Royce, and Gillespie's only 4.8K. So I like those guys a good bit. Gillespie's had a lot of positive coach speak as well. Really talented 3-point shooter. They like him there. And then Royce did a lot of everything last game. And he's kind of a guy that can do a little bit of everything. Had 13 boards, 7 assists, 5 steals. Jazz are a really high turnover percentage team, so he could have something similar like that tonight. But I love those two. I think they're probably 2 of the better value plays.
Yeah, that's the breakdown there. I think this game comes in with a lot of ownership, especially with the back and forth. I've loved what you said about the Jazz big three. Kyle Filipowski, man, I don't know what happened to that guy, but Booker, Gillespie, Williams, O'Neal, they're all in play. Question for you: How would you rank Booker, Siakam, and Tyrese, which is kind of all over the place, but how would you rank those 3?
I think I would have it how it's listed: Booker, Siakam, and Maxey.
Yeah, Booker, Siakam, and Maxey. All right. Any other questions? Throw them in the chat. Jordan says Royce is projected pretty well. Yes, he is. A lot of those Suns are projected pretty well tonight. It's going to be an explosive game. We need those Jazz to get those wins, though, Rio. I need that. I need them to get another dub tonight against the Suns. They've been playing everybody good. Just need them to get some wins. Nurkic's revenge game too. If you're into that kind of stuff. 4K. Next game up on the slate. Got 2 left. Got the Nuggets. Got Jamal Murray. He's listed as questionable. Taking on the Trailblazers. Jrue Holiday been balling. $7,200 now on DraftKings.com. But should be an interesting game. You know, Jokic is going to be played tonight. He's going to be played in droves, and rightfully so. But talk to me a little bit about this game. Another high total up in the 238 as well. Got the Nuggets 4.5-point favorites in Portland. Talk to me about this game, Hebrewcheetah.
Yeah, Denver looks really good right now, just all around. They're top 5 in defense, top 3 in offense. So it looks like they're poised to make a pretty deep run this season, like the additions that they made with Cam Johnson and Tim Hardaway Jr. and Jonas Valanciunas. So they look really good, probably one of the better rosters they've had of recent memory. But the Blazers are playing really good defensively as well, top 6 in defensive rating. So this is a pretty interesting matchup. The game total is a little bit higher than I had anticipated. I thought it would be somewhere in like the mid 220s. But yeah, I think that the Murray news is very big because that would open up some value. I think that they would probably go with Bruce Brown starting, and he would be a guy that I would have a lot of interest in if I knew right now that he was going to be getting the start for an injured Jamal Murray. 3.4K for a guy that can contribute in every category would be something I'm highly interested in. But as it stands right now, I think that Jokic is the only guy I'm really looking to on the Denver side. Don't really have much to say there. I mean, he's going to be going up against Donovan Clingan and Tumani Kamara. They both kind of had their shot at him defensively last year, averaged 63 DK points versus them. And then if Murray were to be out, that would definitely bump him up from a usage standpoint and would make him one of the best spends on the slate. It would be pretty close between him and Luka, I think. But yeah, I mean, he's matchup proof, doing a lot of everything right now. So I think I'm totally fine getting to Jokic. If Jamal plays, I don't think that I have a lot of interest in him coming off of an injury. He's done really well in some really tough matchups this season, but he will be going up against Tumani Kamara, who I think is one of the better defensive players in the league. And then Jrue Holiday as well will help out there. So it could be a pretty tough spot for him to get going. If he's out, Gordon would look a little bit better. Christian Braun would look a little bit better, but I don't think that those guys would really be priority plays. I think it would just be Jokic and then Bruce Brown, assuming that he would get the start. The Portland side is tough to get to. These guys seem pretty appropriately priced right now. Denny 8.3K would probably be the guy that I have the most interest in, just because he has the most upside of these guys. Drew's a little bit too priced up now, 7.2K. Sharp 7K is too much. I think Klingon is fine. Just a high fantasy point per minute guy at 6.1K is something that would always stay in my player pool. But I don't really think that I'm going to get to much. I'd probably be fine if I have zero Portland guys tonight.
Yeah, well, I echo what Aaron says here. Is like, why same total for the most part, but not nowhere near the same ownership ownership projections on that game. Any thoughts as to why that is?
Well, I mean, we kind of talked about a pre-show. The Blazers ran 11 guys in their rotation the first half last game, which is always going to make it tough to, especially at these prices. Like, these guys are, if anything, overpriced, so it's going to make it tougher to make a case for any of these guys in particular. And then Denver, they're pretty appropriately priced as well. 6.6K for Aaron Gordon, who hasn't done anything since the opening night. And then you have like two high usage guys in Jokic and Murray. So it's a little bit tougher to make multiple pieces in this game work. I just think that it's kind of, where the production's coming from in Utah, Phoenix. And I think that the field definitely knows that and is pretty comfortable with that.
Yeah, excellent point there. The ghost of Chauncey Billups running too many men out there in Portland. RIP to Chauncey Billups' NBA coaching career. Last game on the slate. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button for us. Certainly helps us out a ton. Over here, we got Skinny Zion taking on the Clippers, the most overrated team in the league, I feel like. You got the Beards. You got Bill. You got Kawhi. But talk to me about this game. It's a super low total, 222.5. But Pelicans catching 10.5. Going up to, where is that? What do they call that? The wall, Rio? They call that the wall, going into the wall to take on these Clippers.
Yeah, into a dome. Really cool. Yeah, that place is sick. Definitely, if you ever come to LA, go watch any sporting event there. Would be a lot of fun. But basketball, MMA is pretty cool there as well. This is the worst game on the slate. They honestly could have just kept this one off. Like, I don't really think that I want to get to too much here, other than, emergency late swap things, because I just don't really see it for the Pelicans. I mean, this team they're in bad shape, like, for the next few years for sure. I think that, I don't know if they own a first round pick this year or next year. They did some weird trades. I know that they're pretty screwed the draft for the next few years and don't really have a lot of pieces that they can trade. So I don't know. They're kind of screwed, but defensively they're getting killed all over the court. Rim defense is terrible. Transition, 3-point defense, everything is bad for them right now. I don't think that they're going to be competitive most nights. You can make the case for Zion because he does have a really big role, but he's not playing a lot of minutes. I'd probably be fine with Jeremiah Fears. He bounced back in a pretty big way. Last time out, got the start again. So they wanted to go back to him, bounce back from his awful start against Boston where he shot 1 for 11, went 10 for 15. Last game, 6 assists. So if you're choosing one guy, it's probably Fears on the Pelicans. The Clippers side, these guys are all in a pretty good spot. I just don't know if there's like game-breaking or a slate-breaking upside from these guys right now in a game that they're projected to win by double digits. So Harden, totally fine. He will see Herb Jones on defense, which makes it a little bit tougher. So I'd probably lean Kawhi if choosing between the two. And then Zubac is in a pretty good spot. I like attacking the center spot of the Pelicans, but I definitely prefer Walker Kessler by a pretty wide margin than any other value play that's cheaper than Zubac. So yeah, I'm not getting to too much in this game, I don't think.
Yeah, it just seems like a gross game here. It's definitely not a pool party. I was thinking about Sean Sullivan, but Wardo, yeah, definitely not a pool party in there. That'll do it. That's all 8 games. So way to break it down. Best in the business. My man Hebrewcheetah broke it all down for us. Top spin on the slate, Rio. You going Jokic? You going Luka? Who's higher tonight in terms of DK fantasy points?
Just between those two, or like
just between those two.
I'm gonna say Luka. I think he comes back and just picks up right where he left off. He looked really good before the injury.
So you made it sound like you think someone's going to outscore one of those two.
No. I don't know if either of those guys will get outscored tonight, but I think from like a points per dollar perspective, based off of pricing, I think that Devin Booker is really good tonight. That's probably going to be a guy that is heavily utilized across my portfolio tonight.
Luis, he just spent the last 39 minutes and 54 seconds of mentoring you. Gave you all the picks, all the plays to play. We appreciate you tuning in.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I didn't want to. Yeah, I forgot to mention this. I'm terrible. Jordan always messages me about these giveaways, and I keep forgetting. But yeah, Jordan was so kind to give away two $40 single entry tickets tonight, or $40 worth of money in DraftKings for the slate tonight. So he's gonna. I don't know if he wants to give one out here or if he just wants to do both in the Discord, but we're going to be doing that. If Jordan, you're still listening, comment how you want to do that, or message me, and we'll kind of kill some time.
New ones, appreciate it. Long-standing member. He gives me grief all the time, but it's all in fun and love. We love having new ones over here with us at the Nation. But yeah, so Booker, let's go. Give me your top play under. I'm gonna say 6K. Rio, top play under 6K.
Does ownership matter? Or is it just the
ownership doesn't matter? Yeah, we're trying to get fantasy points.
Okay, yeah, I think that I don't want to use Gillespie again because I'm going to be a bunch of Suns guys, but I think it's probably Jarris Walker. If they're going to be playing him 36 plus minutes a night moving forward, he's probably underpriced up until like 6.5K, I would say. I mean, a very, very talented player that just kind of got buried on the roster with this team being competitive over the last few years, but I think that he's pretty good and had a pretty strong role last game. So I think that he's pretty solid up to like 6.5K pricing wise.
Newens has spoken. Get in the Discord if you're a member over at the Nation. Get in there. Newens, we certainly appreciate that. If you aren't a member at the Nation, head on over there now. SHIPITNation.com. We'd love to have you. You can try it for $19 for 5 days. That'll run you through the weekend. Get all the NBA stuff. We got Showdown Baseball. We got NFL. We got college football if you can play that in your slate. My guy under 6K, it's going to be Nikhil Walker Alexander. I believe that's his name. I probably just butchered his name. Alexander Walker. I knew I butchered his name when I said it, but the man shot 17 times last time with Trae Young for basically, I don't know, a quarter and a half. He shot it 18 times with Trae Young earlier in the season. I think he's going to get his shots up early and often. Hopefully they go in tonight, but I like him. You've talked me on to some Jalen Johnson as well. Jose, you definitely deserve a ticket, so head on over into the Nation. Get in the Discord. You can get it over there. I've been permanently banned from hitting the outro. We certainly appreciate you tuning in. Have a great weekend. Hey, stay safe out there. Enjoy trick-or-treating with your kids. Until next time, let's ship it.